What's up, everybody? This is Dave here, Talking in Ovals, episode number 171. Welcome, everybody, on this wonderful Tuesday evening. That's right, you guys get us twice this week. We had a show last night. Last night we had on senior from Wall Township, Callie Buxom. Great girl. I think she's primed for an absolute wonderful winter and spring track season. And it was just a pleasure to talk to her. But tonight we have on for a second time Steve Williams. We're going to bring him in right now to get going. Steve, what's up, man? How's it going?
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing good,
Happy
man.
holidays.
You
Happy
as well,
holidays.
You as well. We're just over here getting ready for the holidays and just kind of figuring everything out. That's why Alex isn't here right now. He's probably going to pop on later. He's doing some family stuff with the kids and his wife. So that's awesome stuff for him. But we want to get back into our conversation that we were talking with you last time, but I want to start off a little bit with Grand Slam track. What are your thoughts and opinions on what happened there? I think, when we first heard about it, everyone was super excited that we were going to have this league here in the States. Every athlete was going to have to double back and run two events and, start off in Jamaica. Numbers were down. Then they came to, I forget where it was, but then the third one, which was at the UPenn, had a pretty good crowd. Everything seemed to be going well. And then all of a sudden we get the announcement that the last two events are just canceled. And then we hear more that athletes aren't getting paid. And finally, I think it was last week, they finally declared for bankruptcy. And it looks like there's still some athletes getting paid. So what's your opinion on everything that went down? And what do you think kind of went wrong?
First off, it was a noble attempt. Michael Johnson, love for the sport, great 200 man, great 400 man. My goodness, I used to watch him run. I would say, how does he run so fast with his semi-tortured form? But he was an animal out there,
Right.
and I love to watch it. The fact that he raised the money, came up with the concept, put together a professional presentation, you can't deny that was all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Sure.
But he overreached. He should have had a one-day event in one city, a 3-day event if it had to have matchups and all these different things. He needed to have a one-day event, a one-city event, and solve it, master it. Make sure that worked out the bugs. But to work out the bugs on a global track competition with, again, non-sponsorship money. This was money that was, we all know, hedge fund money. Sure. We know these venture capitalist guys. They'll jump into something, and the same way they'll jump in, they'll jump out. But to have a corporate sponsor, they can't disappear because their name is on the line.
Sure.
So the hedge fund guys left Michael out to dry. Okay, that's all there is to it. It was said that the hedge fund guys that put the money up when everything was going on politically with tariffs, etc., that it was too speculative for them, and they got cold feet and pulled their money back.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think these athletes will be able to recoup any of that money, or do you think it's just kind of gone?
When it's bankruptcy, it's hard to get the money. It's 50 cents on the dollar. If you're lucky, 10 cents on the dollar. They'll all get something, and they'll feel raw about it. And that's the best they can hope for, is 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah. So we have news of this new league that Sebco starting to create. What do you think it'll take to make an actual pro league that will stick here in the States, or kind of stick, because we have Diamond League, but besides that, we don't really have any other real circuits to kind of compete with that. What do you think that it would take for something like that to actually come to fruition, especially here in the States?
First and foremost, I know Sebco. We used to travel 1974, 75. they had Giuseppe, myself, and his father in an Italian limousine driving us all over Italy because the two of us could fill the stadium. Sebco going against Fruscanaro, who was the world record holder Italian, and me against Pietro Minea. Just the two of us would fill the stadium.
Awesome.
So Sebco and I go back way back like that. I haven't had any contact with him in an extremely long time. I know that what he's trying to do is a step in the right direction. But again, the amount of money that a international event like track cannot put together more money to make this sport move into a professional attitude is very hard for me to reconcile.
Sure.
How come we can get that money that the UFC had? You said about UFC.
Yeah. Yeah.
How come we can't get the money like the new European Soccer League? How come we can't get that LIV money like the golf, right? I don't want to put that out there, but that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need somebody to come in and remodel this thing. When you are an organization and you're not a corporate, you're not a company, where you don't have profit and bottom line that is about making a profitable entity, and you're an organization, you're already sitting behind the curve. You're an organization. When I retired, I worked for the New York Mets.
Okay.
I was speed improvement for the New York Mets from 89 till 92.
Okay.
I got to see pro organizations.
Sure.
I was doing spring ball down in Port St. Lucie, AAA ball. I got to see what a farm system looks like. All right. I also was speed improvement coach. I wasn't even coach, improvement instructor for the New York Jets. I was with the Jets from 88 to 93. I survived 3 coaching changes because I was not considered a coach.
Right.
I was an instructor. So I was tucked away in the like with the training room.
Right.
And if a football coach comes in, they fire everybody and put their guys in. That's part of it. But because the Jets family had tucked me away over there with the training room guys, you couldn't get rid of me.
Hey, good.
So I got to see the Jets organization up close and behind the scenes. I was involved in player personnel and the training and nutrition. And so I got to see professional organizations, and we just pale in comparison in the world of track. I went through AAU, TAC, USA Track and Field with horror stories during the amateur years, how they were just literally taking out money, how they were stifling the growth, particularly the leader of the AAU at the time, Olin Cassell, who had this myopic view of holding the sport back. And I'm not going to mince no words, holding the sports back financially while he was enriching himself.
Sure.
Okay. All right. And you see, I speak from a totally different position than most any athletes you're going to come across, is because I represented myself my whole career. I had negotiations with 15 meat promoters on 6 continents.
Wow.
Okay. I was with the shoe companies. I sat and was bosom buddy with the owner of Adidas, Horst Dassler. I was with Armin Dassler and Rudolph Dassler, the founders of Adidas and Puma. So I got to hear stuff nobody else got to hear. I got to hear from Horst Dassler that he said, "Oh, I own all the federations. I paid them all off." He's telling me this in Strasbourg as he's trying to make me smoke a Havana cigar that he stuck something in, and we're drinking Napoleon brandy. Okay. I got to be friendly with these guys, and they would just talk, just me, and they tell me. So Horst Dazzler told me how he paid off all the USA officials.
Wow.
When Alessi, which wound up being Robert De Capa, wound up being the U.S. Sponsor for World Cup 80 in 81, and then Olympic teams up until Seoul. The owner of the company came to me first. How did I get my company this way? And he just clearly said, who do I pay?
Yeah.
I tried to get him to pay my guy Jimmy Carnes, but Olin Cassell jumped in and got that money. So the dirt, the fact that it wasn't run like a business, that there was all kind of games that was played, the enrichment side on Mr. Cassell is well known by every athlete that went through this era. Okay, every athlete that went through this era. The fact that they could hold the amateur code over your head.
Yeah.
You do this or you can't run Olympics. You can't even play AAU basketball.
Crazy.
Okay. A great meat promoter, Mr. Al Franken, who put together all the Los Angeles track meets. He and I were close. He gave me my first money. He brought in Pepsi Cola, Vaughn Supermarket, brought in Jack in the Box, brought in Pepsi Cola, all Sunkist, all of these companies to sponsor track. But the AAU as a governing organization didn't like that he wasn't paying them. He was paying the athletes. He wound up having a lifetime of fight against the AAU. So back to Sebastian Coe and what he's doing. I welcome it. I'm happy to see it.
Sure.
I was happy to see that the NC2A loosened up. It sure has changed the playing field with the NC2A, hasn't it?
It has. I have some other issues with that as well. It's kind of changed a lot of things. But yeah, I feel like the NCAA now has almost become just like the minor leagues. Like everyone's getting paid now through the deals from NIL. Hey, Alex.
What's up, team? Sorry about that. I had to go and do some last second Christmas stuff.
All good.
Help out the
I just came from Costco. Don't worry.
There you go. We all know how it is, right?
We were just talking about some of the failures of Grand Slam and also like what Seb Coe needs to do to kind of get his thing off. And Steve agrees. It all comes down to money. Like you need to have a lot of money those first 2 years to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
Well, something that's interesting is my former head coach over at Marist, my head coach, he's the director over there. He sent me an article, and I think it was from Runner's World, where Seb Coe was quoted because they were obviously talking about the bankruptcy and things like that, and asked him if Grand Slam gets their financials in order, would there be an opportunity for them to come back? And he flat out said, well, we control the calendar. Now, something with you, Steve, you dealt with control, right? You dealt with people trying to control the athletes, trying to control that. When you hear something like that coming from someone like Seb Coe, who, was involved in some of that, had the back end after things that you were able to accomplish, but still there was a lot of trying to pull and tug Seb Coe where to go, right? Is it a surprising statement from you hearing Seb say something so kind of controlling? Because to me, it's like, if I'm Michael Johnson, I'm looking and going, what do you mean? I'm going to go get $200 million now, kick rocks. Like, you don't control anything that we do. Like, right. How do you feel about him saying, like, we basically control that calendar if they want to get on it or not?
When Dave and I was talking before about you're an organization. You're not a company. Mm-hmm. You're not a professional team working to make a profit where you got bottom line issues. Okay? Yep. Whatever Michael Johnson tried to do was going to take away from USA Track and Field.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to dilute USA Track and Field. Even if they had the pretense, because I heard what Cole said before the events started, that it's good for the athlete. It's anything that can make us get more revenue and eyes on the sport. So he was championing it, but in the same respect, we know that it was taking from his power and his control, taking from Siegel and USA Track and Field's power and control.
Yep.
And it doesn't amaze me that word control came out.
Right.
Because organizations have to have control. Okay?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's to me though, it's a shame, right? Because they're bringing out this World Athletics Champions, whatever they're doing, like their version of a little mini league. And I think one of the problems we see here is they've been catering just to the top 1%, right? They're not going to care about bringing in that bottom group that they're, the bunch of people that make world standards, that make Olympic standards. It's only for about maybe 16 people per event, and that's not a lot. So how do you feel about them getting another, basically like, it's almost like a secondary diamond league that the World Athletics sponsors?
They were going to kill it off. They were hoping it died off.
Oh, yeah.
Edwin Moses and I, back in 1980, when everything got scrambled because of the boycott, we hooked up with LSA, which was Robert DeCopper, and we were wearing their clothes as well as wearing Adidas and Puma shoes.
Mm-hmm.
We were opening it up for Edwin Moses and I said it should be like NASCAR. We should be having
Agreed.
patches from every sponsor imaginable.
That's what
we first broke it where the shoe companies would accept somebody else's clothing line being worn.
Yes.
And then right after 80, they felt sorry for us because of the boycott. But right after that, that door snapped shut. And it went back to
Don't step on anyone's toes. We tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me about that. There's a thought of control. And as I said to Dave earlier, come on, how come we can't get some of that Arab money? How come we can't get that UFC money? How come we can't get that European Soccer League money? How come we can't get that golf money? Who wants? You would rather watch the 9 holes of golf than watch a track meet? And that has more appeal to throw money behind than the greatest athletes in the world? We're doing something wrong.
I agree.
We're doing something wrong.
How much of it do you think is the battle between sponsors? Like this meet's sponsored by this company, so these athletes can't go. Do you think that sponsorship plays any role, and the shoe companies play any role in the fact that these leagues can't get off the ground?
Nike runs the show.
Oh yeah.
Nike runs the show. Okay.
Yep.
That's all there is to it,
Agreed.
100%. 100%.
I mean,
Nike runs the show. Okay. Nike decides who wears what. Nike decide where the big meets are at. They run the show. They have the control.
I always thought it was crazy. It's got to be almost 12 years ago now, where Nick Simmons tried to wear the henna tattoo, and it was a temporary tattoo of a sponsor, which I think is a cool idea. The temporary tattoos, they come off, and he had to cover it up. They made him put like a skin color patch over it. Like, it's crazy. And we had Eric Sawinski on the show many moons ago, and he said he could probably make a few $1,000s just from getting some local sponsors if we could put it on a singlet. And that would be enough to pay for him to pay a coach for the year and do these things. And a lot of these athletes could probably go back to their hometowns and scrounge up a few $1,000s, maybe 10K. And
Sure.
it's paying for their coaching. It's paying for the things that they don't have to worry about.
Health insurance.
It helps.
Health
Yeah.
insurance.
Absolutely.
Health
Massive. Yeah. Yeah. It's a
big
big
one.
thing that people don't think about. Most of the athletes don't have health insurance. It's wild. So speaking of the athletes, I want to jump over. Did you guys touch on the NIL at all yet?
A little bit.
So let's talk a little bit the NIL and transfers. We just saw, one of our coaching friends brought up to us, Dave, that one of the most ridiculous things we've ever seen. I forget the athlete's name, but a young sprinter just made an announcement on Instagram yesterday, I believe, that he's transferring from IMG Academy, one of the best places on the planet for a runner, whether it's high school, pro, college, period, to go to Bullis School. How, since when, college athletes transferring drives me nuts. A high school athlete going from one superpower to another,
a complete different state.
Like, what is this? Like, when high school kids are starting to do it, what is that going to do for our sport when now they're icing out so many good high schools and even some maybe private schools, and they're going to these prep schools? Like, what
super
is this?
Teams?
What is this trying to do for the sport?
Super team. Yep.
I've got mixed feelings. One, the NC2A to finally loosen up and pay the athletes is a great thing. I left the NC2A and went pro and created Being Pro because it was exploitation being in an NC2A. But only the elite or top athletes would feel that way. The rest wanted a scholarship and to go to school and get an education.
Yeah.
But now that is open, Alex, you're asking about a high school kid changing schools.
Crazy.
Okay. It's almost like basketball players. When the kid's great in high school in basketball, he's sought after. But a great high school kid in track is not sought after. So now that has happened, that the great high school kid is sought after, right?
Here's the example right here.
I'm all for it in one respect, right? But I feel that the kids are too young to be sliding back and forth through these programs. And as you said, it's going to make super teams, and it's going to make other high schools be cherry-picked of their best athletes.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up right here. It's Mikey Swanson. And listen, I'm not going to, I usually don't like to talk, but that's part of our sport. High school kids doing something. If you're going to make a big announcement like this, then I'm going to throw some criticism because I don't think it's a good thing. So he wrote over here, I want to take a moment to announce I'll be transferring from IMG Academy in Florida to Bullis School in Maryland in January. I am extremely grateful for the opportunity, support, and growth I've experienced during my time at IMG. So just stopping right there, what is the rule from transferring prep to prep? Can he throw on a Bullis School jersey and right away just start running indoor? I don't, I know more of the scholastic rules. There's usually like a waiting period. I don't know if there is a waiting period for prep. So that's something I'm curious if there's a waiting period. So real quick, the coaches, teammates, and community have helped shape me as an athlete and as a person, and I will always appreciate everything this program has done for me. With that being said, I believe it is time for a new chapter and a new journey at Bullis, where I'm excited to continue pushing myself and pursuing my goals. Thank you to everyone who has been part of my coaching experience at IMG. Your impact will stay with me forever. Once an ascender, always a surrender. And then you have Quincy right there saying, let's do it with the heart. So, I mean, my feelings are, I guess, I'm a little mixed too, because like you said, when the kids, if you have this type of shine and you can get it, that could turn some heads, right, for your future. But there's two things here. Number one, Mikey Swanson better be bigger than Quincy Wilson in a few years. You make this type of splash, you make this type of move, you better become a national champion, you better dominate in college, and you better become a great pro. Because if not, people are only going to remember from you going from IMG to Bullis, super school to super school. So you better show out. And you better be an Olympian. Like, there's a standard now that you have set for yourself with this target. Because if I'm a high-level sprinter now, or whatever event he does, sprinter, jumper, distance, whatever it is,
sprinter,
he's a 400 guy. If I'm in his event, Even if Quincy's there, I'm gunning for you. Yo, I beat the transfer. Quincy's Quincy. I beat the transfer, man. Like, that's where I would be mentally. I'd want to win and run my best race, but if I can beat the transfer, man, that's where I'm at.
Well, I think
That's a competitor in me.
I think part of it too is like, with social media, all these guys are all like really good friends. So like they all want to run and train together. I mean, like
Yeah.
I have no doubt that Bolus this year, they might run around 3 flat 4x4 as a high school team. Like they're
100%.
they're
Why
gonna
wouldn't
be.
they?
I mean, they got Quincy 44, they got a 45 guy, 47 guy, a 46 guy. Like they're absolutely, for a high school team, they're gonna break every single record that we've ever had. Is that good? Is it bad? I don't know.
He's probably not the last one either. I could see a few more transfers now. This could start a snowball impact of transferring. So the other
It's
thing I
going
dislike about it,
to, you're not going to be the only one. I go back to basketball where they were following basketball kids, high school kids in the park, and that agents was giving them shoes and they
Mhm.
was charging them for what college to go
Sure,
to, and the
absolutely.
NCAA, banning kids because they had an agent in high school, and that progressed where now the basketball kids that come out of high school, go into college, go into pros. It has to work itself out.
Agreed. And
That's
I'll say
all
this
it
too.
is.
I'm hoping
And
Mikey
then
Swanson has a great career.
the concern that it's killing college sports at a lower level than the elites.
Yeah.
That colleges or universities are getting rid of parts of their program
Oh yeah.
because of all of this activity that's making them say, we need to have the stars,
Yep.
we need to have the glamour sports take the high road. You're not hearing this concern about bringing in a half miler or
Nope.
a pole vaulter from high school. The sprinters always have a habit of developing at 16, 17, 18, 19
Very
years
true.
old. So the other events that take a little bit more maturity, they're not going to be nursed along to get that maturity.
Yeah.
It's
That,
a,
that you have a point there.
I'm happy for the money. I'm happy for the kids to get paid. The rest
The,
of it, we have to see what happens.
Agreed.
so, again, Mikey Swanson, I hope he has a great career. I look forward to rooting for him. I hope he represents the red, white, and blue. And I can look back and go, he made the best decision of his life going to Bullis. And now he's an Olympic champion wearing the red, white, and
Yeah.
blue. Like, I would
He's run
absolutely want
47, 47.82, I think, as a sophomore.
that's awesome. Let's
Yeah.
get it. 47.8 as a sophomore. That's dirty. Like that's good work. The other thing that drives me
Hold
crazy.
on
Go
a
ahead.
second. How old was he as a sophomore?
It didn't say age.
Didn't say age.
Okay, you see,
I
that's
know.
my whole thing.
You're right.
Is how old you were. You
Correct.
could be.
Age
We had our guy who I love very much, Houston McTeer, was like 19 in high school,
Yeah.
18
Yeah.
plus in
Difference.
high school. So there's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
I was world junior in the 400 at 18 years old, 44.9 at 18. All right. So I was a freshman in college at 18. So it's again, sophomore in college running 47, whatever. I want to know what age he was.
That's
Okay.
very true, especially sprinters.
I was
Yep.
running 47.1 at 17. So again,
There
I
you
was
go.
out of high school though. So again, I hope for the best
Agreed.
because we have been undervalued,
Very much so.
systematically undervalued. From high school, NC2A, AAU, TAC, USFA track and field, IAAF, Olympic Committee. We're undervalued in all of those organizations that are screwing around with athletic futures.
Definitely. The big thing that always just concerned me with the NIL is I think in the beginning there was really good intention where they wanted athletes to make money. Now it's become a contract though, because instead of where I thought of it was, I'm Alex Cuesta, I'm a good athlete in whatever sport I am. I hire an agent and say I go to Idaho, right? I'm going to go around that school, find some big boosters, find some people, and they're going to pay me, but I'm hunting for it. Now it's the schools are guaranteeing this stuff. And to me, that makes it no different than a pro contract. So I'd be okay if they went back and revamped the NIL with the language of no school can guarantee an NIL. If an athlete must hire an agent, if you believe that you deserve an NIL, go hire an agent, right? It's a chance. You are taking a chance that your name, image, and likeness is worth something, right?
Sure.
So, and the thing is, we're getting these kids. I hear some of these kids getting NILs. I have no idea who the hell they are. They're coming out of high school. I don't know who some of these kids are. And then they're getting these NIL deals in some of these sports. And it's like, you're only getting it because you're going to LSU, not because of you. The LSU was hoping that you're going to make them something. But so I think that's my biggest criticism of the NIL. I like that athletes are getting paid, but they're not doing any work to go get paid. They're working hard for their sport, but it's supposed to be them going to find it, not the schools. It's just a contract. And I hate that it's a contract.
But you also got a fair amount of young athletes that in track that are barn burners as kids.
Yeah.
And then you got more of them that don't blossom.
Oh yeah.
It's almost a catch-22 to be great in high school, okay? To be great, to be really good young, you know? I had good people around me. My coach, Wayne Vandenberg at UTEP, right? He was like, Steve, you can run with anybody. Let's put enough guys with you to run with in practice. And that's all he did. I ran with fast guys. We got better. I got better that way. He was a businessman. He taught me about the business of track and field. When I transferred to San Diego State, I was in pretty much not great shape. So I stopped running the 400. I dropped down to solely the 100 and 200, a couple of mile relays. I was world record holder and I ran 9-1 at 19 years old, youngest ever.
Crazy.
But again, I felt that I was mature in the business of this. And the psychology, again, that New York things, running in the snow and all of the tough, gritty part of it made going into the next levels of the sport being, I was fearless. I was fearless about it.
And that's the way you got to be.
Who knows whether or not these young athletes will blossom the way the colleges expect them. Also, does these new college rules exclude the amount of running you'll do? Do you have to? Who was the girl? Abby Steiner.
Steiner, yep.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Abby Steiner. She's getting to about to go to Europe, and she done run 35 races.
Yep. And I mean, she might be retiring with all of her injuries.
Much, and well, I mean, but you know what? I when I was in high school, I just always think of the name Obi Moore because he was like a can't miss. He was like 44. Obi was like he could, and he never made it even freshman year in college. He never made it.
Sometimes you run your legs off.
No, it wasn't that. Like, he didn't know the whole business side.
Yeah,
you know, like
he was
that side. So, and you know, but like no one ever taught him like this is what it takes to be a pro, and he still got into some bad habits. So you're right, man, because like he was can't miss. I remember he would come from the West Coast all the way over to the Penn Relays with his school, and they would just run like 306, and it was amazing to watch.
He dropping 45s low.
Yeah. I mean, he was unreal, but even him, he didn't make it.
There's more of that than 100%. There was people that have the breakthrough. Okay.
Absolutely.
Oddly enough, you've got more of the girl runners that go from being young, Allison Felix and stuff, that go from being young proteges and come through the whole thing unscathed. So we have Marion Jones.
Sydney right now, Sydney McLaughlin-Lavoni is absolutely doing it. She's become the greatest at her event of all time.
And she was great in high school.
And she was amazing in high school. One of the best high schoolers ever to do it.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we have to wait and see. I always want the kids to make the money. I think the colleges have to come up with a formula that works.
Agreed.
And you just said that the other athlete moved from Florida to Maryland.
Maryland, yes.
So that's not like cross town.
I know.
No.
It's
Are you moving? You have to now have like a dormitory. You have to be on campus of a high school.
Well, they were
Or
already with IMG. I'm pretty sure they were already rooming in IMG. So he's like, probably you. I don't even know where he's initially from.
I don't know.
so you see what I'm saying? It puts together a lot of different dynamics, as far as is his parents moving with him?
Right.
What's
Right.
So, quick thing. Mikey Swanson is initially from Alabama. So then when he went over to Florida at IMG, that's not that big of a jump. Alabama to Florida, not terrible. That's still a state, 2 states away, but not bad. It's still the South. It's the same. But then to go into Maryland, which, I mean, now he's experiencing 4 seasons because Maryland gets all 4 seasons. They, and I get I want to go run with Quincy. I know now that Andrew Valman's going to be closer there because he's now going to go run, and Coach Valman is going to be around us because he's going to be around Quincy. And I get it. And there's great coaches at Bullis. Obviously, Quincy's parents are going to be there, and his dad's involved. So I understand. I want to go where I perceive the best currently is. Like, I get the mentality. I get it. But I mean, it's just, it's tough.
It's a lot for a high school kid.
There's a lot going on there.
That's a lot for a high school kid from Alabama to Florida to Maryland, all within like 3 years. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, man, I hope he makes it.
To wrap this up, look at the signing your life away. When you were in high school, when you had a letter of intent for a college,
yeah,
you were signing your life away. You were signing your likeness away for infinity until these laws got changed. You were signing away how many meets you could run outside of the program. My battle with a great coach, Dick Hill at San Diego State, was when I redshirted, I was number 1 in the world, 100 and 200, double national champion, number 1 in the world, 2 events, and then I'm running for a college program.
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave all that money on the table.
Yep.
Because I wasn't allowed to negotiate and go to the Melrose game by myself. I wasn't able to negotiate to go to any of the invitational meets that just wanted to see me.
You had to keep your amateurism.
I played along, and we took the whole team to these meets, mile relays and stuff, and I'd run a 60 just to have them pay to bring the whole team when all that money was supposed to go in my pocket.
Yeah.
Few people were in that position to understand that little part of it. So you're signing away. You can't travel to Europe while school is in sessions, right? I was always sneaking off to Europe to go get paid. You're going to pay me $2,500, and the school scholarship was worth $265 a month laundry money for 10 months, and I can make that in 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's different.
My only year with San Diego State was a net loss for me.
I mean, and that's crazy, right? Because it's looking at it, it's like, okay, with Quincy, is Quincy going to be at a net loss going to Maryland? And it's tough for me to say because I love Andrew Valman. He's a Manchester alumni. He's the greatest runner from my high school. Andrew's a monster, and I think he's a great coach. He's a Team USA coach in some of their best teams.
Yeah.
But it's weird to think, what you said with Quincy, is that he in a similar boat where now he has to go and play by the NCAA rules?
Yeah, but it's different now because now he can get all the NIL money, so like he can run for college.
Though. He can't go and race in Diamond League though, as a college athlete. If he got invited to Diamond League meets,
you see college kids running pro meets now all the time.
They do, but can they take the money? Can they take the winning money? They can as a high school.
He's going to get his money somehow.
When you're wearing that, unless the NIL is paying him extra to go there, which is different.
I think he'll get paid what he would have. I don't know about him.
You hate to say this, but these big colleges, I used to train at University of Florida. I was an honorary Gator.
Yeah, nice.
And to see what Gator football makes in money.
It's insane.
If the universities fall behind the new structure of the track meets, they'll be able to pay the athlete more than the track meet will be able to pay them.
That's true.
If they structure it where they're leaning on the athletic department. I was at Stanford University, Brooks Johnson, first black person to be a head coach at Stanford. Stanford had the athletic department, had a CEO, and was separate from the university.
I mean, their endowment at Stanford is like they're an Ivy League of the West. Their endowment is insane. Like there's a few of them over there. Your UCLA, your UC Santa Barbara. Like they have Ivy League endowment money in the millions upon millions. So,
but on
they
the
can
other
afford to pay
side, you
things.
got the SEC.
Oof.
You got SEC with football,
The TV money.
basketball money, TV money up
Big
the
Ten.
butt.
Yeah.
If they decide that they're going to spend that money on their track athletes that they've brought in, then you don't have to worry about getting paid from the track meets.
It's true.
Because half the track meets is going to be poorer than the university.
It's true.
So I want to switch gears from the NIL, and I want to get back to hearing about your story, because I think we left off last time. What were we at the end of 1972? I think that's where we didn't get too far in. I think we were at the end of 72. At this point, what did we leave off? I think we left off with him talking about potentially doing the buddy cop type of thing with you and Pre. You were writing it, and that was kind of going into that. So I want to keep going with your story, because I think, your story is fascinating, and I think we can, obviously you wrote the book, Always Speeding, to kind of get this. Yeah, there it is. There it is. To get the written version of what you're telling us down there. But I want you to kind of continue and expand. So post 72, as we're getting done with that, what's next in your career that you are trying to accomplish?
Oh, so I transferred out of the University of Texas. I was under 20 world record holder, 440 and 400 yards. I transferred into San Diego State. I didn't really I had a gap in my training, so I sort of backed off from the 400. As a freshman at UTEP, I ran 6'1", 200 yards, 20.2, 200 meters, and 44.9, 400. So from the 60 to the 400, and I had a 156, 800.
There you go. Run that.
Okay.
Wow. There you go.
Okay. So when I got to San Diego, Southern California life, palm trees, fun. I didn't run much. I ran a couple of 45s for San Diego Track Club on a relay with Wes Williams and Harold Williams and James King and my buddy Jimmy Red. But then I just started only running the 100. And
so I want to quickly talk about the difference even then, because UTEP, University of Texas, El Paso, it's not a, now currently especially, it's not a small school. UTEP has a good reputation. San Diego State has a good reputation. So what was the difference back then between the schools that made you want to go from UTEP to a San Diego State?
The coach at UTEP, Wayne Vandenberg, got unceremoniously fired. Okay. For supposedly going over budget, because Coach Vandenberg, affectionately called Vandy would do everything for us athletes. He'd skate every NC2A rule. He had sponsors in Mexico, across the border in Juarez.
That's awesome.
He had people handing us cash.
And El Paso's right across the border too, so it really wasn't hard. There was a short drive to get right in there.
It's downtown. In my book, I have an interesting story of where for lack of a better word, a Mexican jefe who ran all the cigarette and pinball machines on the border gave El Paso 10 grand in cash so we could go to the NC2As.
So
So
how often did
Vandenberg,
you guys sneak across that border to go party? That's the
oh,
real
it was
question.
it was part of downtown. It was part of downtown. So back to what you were asking about, when Vandenberg got fired, I had to go somewhere. I was supposed to go to USC
Okay.
Okay.
when I was in El Paso. I was supposed to go to Arizona State. I transferred to Arizona State. UTEP wouldn't send my transcripts to Arizona State because they were in the WAC conference.
Ah.
That's
Back then, staying in the same conference was like poaching cattle. Okay, they frowned upon that.
I mean, I
I
get it
swung
though.
up.
As an AD, I'm not sending the best athlete in the world to a rival school. Like, what am I doing? The best sprinter on the planet's at my school, and he wants to leave. I ain't giving him to the same conference so I can watch him go beat us. Absolutely
Come
not.
back, come back after the red shirt year, so you can understand the poison involved.
Absolutely.
So, uh, the assistant coach at Arizona State said, "I want you to go to LA and go to the Puma representative, Art Simberg." Art Simberg said, "I can get you into USC." We're in Art Simberg's house, Puma representative, shoes piled to the ceiling, his lovely wife, superstar, greatest sprinter ever, Wyoming Tyus was his wife.
Wow.
We up
Okay.
there, we there in track royalty in Art Simberg's house.
You
Ken
always end up in
Matsu,
some shoe company's this area. Like
always.
that's what you found out. You should have named it the Shoe Man because you always end up in some shoe company's like house or place of like employment. Like you were just always happen to be there.
uh, Art Simberg tried to get us in USC because Ken Matsuda, who
Mhm.
recently passed away,
Yes.
Ken Matsuda wanted to bring me and Harold Williams in, and the two of us would have changed the LA landscape of track. Coach Jimbo Bush at UCLA contacted the NC2A saying that me and Harold Williams did not have the grades to go into USC,
Wow.
and Jim Bush blocked us from going into USC.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. And then later on, Jim Bush and I became dearest of friends, and he laughed his ass off about that.
He's like, yeah. I
Again,
didn't want you beating me.
yeah, protecting what they got. The same Noah
LA, he
conference.
laughed
You are
his
not going
ass
to the
off.
rival.
Okay? He said, after I wound up, running world record at Fresno, and then Jim Bush and I traveled to Europe together. He was one of the coaches. He said, I did the right thing from keeping you out of LA. So Coach Dick Hill became one of the first black head coaches, San Diego. So we headed down to San Diego. That's how I got there. So they're talking about the differences. And California was a lovely experience, and to train regularly. I got connected to the beach. I was training on the beach like that.
So you were
Beachfront
already
became my life almost,
so you
and
were already
so
quickly, you're already
so
business minded getting
73.
into this. So real quick, Steve, you were already business minded kind of getting into all this, right? What did you find out about the underbelly of the track world going through what you did? Okay, I
Yeah.
can't go to Arizona State. I can't go to UCLA because of X, Y, and Z. So what did you learn yourself? Because obviously you're someone who takes these experiences, puts them away, takes their wisdom, and doesn't let that mistake happen again. Like you
Sure.
seem like that type of person. So what did you learn about your journey and can't do this, can't do that, and how to kind of find your way there?
All the can't do's led you to like a slave needing freedom. There's freedom over that hill.
Yeah.
I was at San Diego Track Club red shirt year, so we were with a club. So now, after I ran 9-1 at Fresno, then being with a club, they had to come to me because I was with the club.
Yep.
Different than if I was with the university. So I wound up meeting with meet promoters. Al Franken gave me $600. First time I seen any real money in
There you
the
go.
track world. And so I slowly, from meet to meet, realized I was the headliner and that you should talk to me. I didn't feel the need for an agent. I won a national championship, 100 and 200. It hadn't been done since the 60s. Ray Norton did it.
Yep.
And I was heading to Europe on a United States tour, USA versus Italy, USA versus Russia, USA versus Africa. And so we had that. I was immediately whisked from the AAU championship off to Europe.
What the hell happened to those types of things? How cool would it be to see
Oh,
USA versus
in
these
my-
different
in my-
countries, man? That's such a
in
great
my
idea.
book, in my book, I have it as world tour of all tours. I'm talking about Dwight Stones, Fuhrbeck, Prefontaine, Ray Brown, Mary Deckard. You know, I'm talking about an elite group that was on that tour. We went to Germany first. I'm in Olympic Stadium a year too late. I had tears in my eyes looking at Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
A meat promoter in Innsbruck said, "Hey, I want to have a track meet in Innsbruck. You guys, I want you and Stones and a group to come with us." He says, "Okay." We're like, "Fine, let's go. $800 a piece." I hadn't heard that money. Let's go.
Yeah.
AAU found out. Olin Cassell said, "You got to take everybody." And so you got to take the whole USA team. So the meat promoter had to take the whole USA team and was pretty much maneuvering the elite athletes out of getting paid. This is my first experience.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's like that, huh? They can come in here and just take our money. The meat promoter for Innsbruck, he said, "I'm still going to pay y'all on the side. We're getting paid while the team is in the next room eating dinner." And I'm like, oh, okay, this can work.
So
I can work with this.
real quick, were
I
you
can
a
work
part?
with this.
Were you a part of? Because one of the things that Dave will say too in the movie Without Limits, one of the scenes where Billy Crudup playing Prefontaine flips out on one of the AAU people. One of the big things: "You're not God. This isn't even your country." Were you a part of when that happened? When they told him, Lasse, Viren isn't running here. You have you're not racing here. You have to go race in Helsinki. Were you a part of that whole entire mess and what went on there? Because that's one of the most quoted scenes.
We don't have enough time. We don't have enough time for the amount of times they manipulated. Oh, you're sitting in London and you're getting ready to go to a track meet. You're sitting in London. All of a sudden, USA, Germany, in Gelsenkirchen, Germany, you used to have a travel permit. Your travel permit is pulled from the AAU. You have to go to USA, Germany, or not run at all. And the thing with me, I learned very early in business, the best person to negotiate is the one who's willing to walk away from the table with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was willing I'll tell you, I'll sit in the stands. I used to say that every time situation. Oh, okay, if I'm negotiating with me, okay, we can't come to an agreement. I'm here, I'll sit in the stands. What Priya is talking about was prior to me, 2 years prior to me.
Yep.
He was trying to break that yoke that they had on it, right? He was one of the leading exponents for coming in their face and telling them, "You don't own us. This ain't slavery. You can't make me run here and there. You can't stop me from taking money." So Pre was part of that rebel group.
He was he when you came along and had his back with all these things.
We were a band of pirates because the rules were Pacific Coast Club. Tom Jennings was the coach of Pacific Coast Club. He had a star-studded group of athletes. He had a little bit of control over where to go and where not to go. This tour in 73, go to Germany, fine. Go to Italy, me against Pietro Manea. It was like, that's all they wanted to see, was me and Pietro Manea. Because he had the bronze medal. He was the star of the country. I roll in. I'm 19 years old. I'm like, I'm with the USA team. I don't know what I'm doing. All I knew, I was coming for that Italian ass. Okay. Okay. I loved him later, but in the beginning, he was just, hey, you guys in New York, you didn't love me that much.
You got us Italians pegged. You do a good impression there.
Hey, my paisans, okay?
Hey, there you go.
But after I beat Pietro, the head of the Italian Federation walked up and put a business card in my hand and said, anytime you want to come to Italy, just call me. So I was just my first 2 stops in Europe. They were dealing with me. So why bother with a club? Why bother with a manager, right? Yeah. All of that. Next stop, and I just posted this. I sent it to you, Alex, because AI is finding film footage that I never thought I'd ever see again. They had the USA versus Russia in '73.
Wow, that's cool.
And somebody found it.
Let me see if I can pull that up.
And the big thing was me against Valery Borzov. Double Olympic champion, new upcoming young sprinter. It was me and him. Was this big deal in Russia, Minsk. And it's like the Rocky movie hadn't been made yet, but it was a Rocky movie moment. Borzov coming out of that Soviet, Russian doping program that still goes on to this day.
Yes, it does.
And he was one of their top guys, and we knew all of those questions about his, his chemistry. And here, me, 19 years old, and I'm like, okay, I run the 100, I win the 100. He's only going to run the 200 in the relay. Our American guys, Herb Washington and Hammond and Mark Lutz and I, on the relay, we're 5 yards behind the Russians when they give me the stick. I have to tell you, and you'll see the video because I sent it to you. I was in a trance. I was in a trance.
I got these stills. This is what I got. This is just the stills right here.
But I was in a trance. You see how far behind I am? You see how far I am in the time? I was in a trance. I was hunting him like you would not believe. I mean, I had never gotten to that seriously cross off into animal part of sprinting. There's that beast in you, right? I came for him, and it was all in slow motion. I was in another world. I couldn't believe it. He's in front of me. Oh, boy. I was salivating. I even looked at him when I passed him. You watch the film, they booed me at the end of the race. The KGB had to sort of move me off the track because they were whistling, booing because I had disrespectfully beat their guy.
Hey.
After that, I was an international star because there was a lot of democracy versus communism.
Yep.
Doped athlete against college athlete. White sprinter against black sprinter. It had all of those textures to it. And to me, it was just a race. It was just a run. So after that, I was so well known. Everybody in Europe wanted me, but the AAU forced me to go down to the USA versus Africa. Again, leaving all that money on the table in Europe. I was whisked out of Minsk down to Dakar. And they had control. Again, that control.
This is the race right here, right?
Control of what happens, okay? That control of what happens. So it's a beautiful set of things that I had to learn.
This is the race. I have it on mute right now, but so we can watch it while we chit chat. You can kind of give us commentary here.
There's the French commentary, and then the next one is the U.S. commentary with my
Like I
favorite
said,
guy.
I threw it on mute, so I just want to kind of
Okay, sure.
watch what happens here.
Now,
So talk us through who's got the baton and everything going through
That's
here.
Herb Washington. They sort of fumbled the stick, and the Russians were the same Russians that had run in '72, so they were flawless with their stick passes as usual. Mark
Tail of the
Lutz,
United States, right?
Mark Lutz was a hell of a 200 runner, and he's coming up to me, but we're still behind.
Woof, that's
And
a
then I
distance
get
there,
to
man.
oh, walked him down.
And you're
Walked him
looking
down.
at him. I saw that. That was awesome. Wow, it looked like he was walking, man. That's crazy.
That was like varsity versus JV there, man.
Wow.
There's a lot of emotion that was connected to it, right? I got to tell you, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm a New York guy. I was raised where you don't let the white guys run faster.
Look at him.
I had all of that stuff going on, but also I had a deeper USA Russia thing going.
Yeah.
Because I was of that generation that was hiding under the desk in elementary school in the 60s because of the Russian nuclear threat.
This is a better picture of it, too. This is in color.
This is Brent Musburger calls it from here.
Here, we can listen in.
Has practiced this relay only once before right here. And there is a bad handoff for the United States.
I love Brent.
Gets away very well. Washington and Hammonds did not hook up well. Hammonds now will be going to Mark Lutz. Lutz is the new member of this team. And there is Yuri Silov taking off for the Soviet Union. So it's coming down to Valery Borzov and Steve Williams. Here it is. Borzov with a slight lead. As Williams got that kick. Here he comes. Steve Williams in the middle of the track. Look at him come. Steve Williams, the place farther.
And the hand switch at the end, too. Even more disrespectful.
I love it. That was great.
Listen to the whistling.
I hear it.
You could hear this near capacity crowd whistle and hoot a little bit at their double gold medal winner from Munich. Valery Borzov, definitely not the most popular athlete here in Minsk.
And that has to be one of the greatest ankle legs of any relay I have ever seen in my life. Of course, the two gentlemen.
That was fantastic, man. That's insane.
You don't see uniforms like that anymore, man. Those were
Do you
nice.
still have your USA uniforms? Do you keep them all?
The national team uniform was important. So after that, after that, I won the 200 later on in the day. After that, I was down in Minsk. After that, I came home at the end of the tour. And in October, so I'm back at school. I'm supposed to start college. And then the school season starts, but the AAU gets invited to run in Jamaica. So I'm like, okay, I'm going down to Jamaica.
Especially if you're a sprinter, you want to go down to Jamaica and sprint.
They allowed you to break that NC2A, you can't compete out the country if you were competing for the United States. Again, you control. If it was just a Jamaica, I couldn't have gone because school started. But because it was the AAU, I was allowed to go. So one of my favorite stories, I get down to Jamaica. I had been beating Don Quarry. Don and I, we were at the height of what Jamaicans wanted to see. I get down to Jamaica, big poster. This is October now. Big poster of me and Quarry. I'm like, oh man, I'm not in shape for this. I had ended in September. I've been doing everything else but training. So I get down there, it's an ambush. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get mugged here. So I said, I can always run the 100. I won't run the 200. Warming up for the meet. The meet was the Norman Manley Games, named after the Prime Minister's father. Michael Manley was the Prime Minister of the country. I'm warming up outside of Kingston's National Stadium. All of a sudden, I'm surrounded by 4 military police who march me up to the Prime Minister's booth, where the Prime Minister, a royal gentleman, politician, says to me, I hear that you're not going to run the 200 against our man Quarry. The people have come from the hills, the valleys, the beaches to see you run the 200 against our man Quarry.
I think I
And I
remember.
mean,
I think I remember hearing this one. You told us this one last time. I
I
remember
told
this
you
one.
this
This is
one
where
before, right?
you made the one guy look bad in the hotel, right? Because you
Yeah,
went
but
to the
I
prime
had to.
minister yourself. Yeah, I remember this one.
Okay. So here again, I'm here. I'm up here negotiating with the prime minister of the country to run 200. I probably won 20.9. I made $2,500. I had to go knock on the door practically of Jamaica House to get the money.
Yes.
And I go back
Remember that.
home after this 1973 red shirt year, and I just sit back and say, wow, wow, look at this. Negotiating with the prime ministers of a country and being over there in the Soviet Union. And after that meeting in the Soviet Union, I went to Africa, and I was a cultural hero in Africa because the Africans didn't like that the white guy was the top sprinter. And the way I handled Borzov was like, everybody was in love with me.
Yeah.
I stepped off of the airplane, long plane ride, and a Senegalese couple hands me their newborn baby and said, "We named the baby after you, champion Steve Williams." And the baby was named Steve Williams, and they hand me the baby. I'm in the airport collecting my luggage. I'm
You were
in
like the
tears.
president.
I'm in tears. I kissed the
Yeah.
baby on the forehead. I hand it back. And I'm 19 years old, and someone's naming you their kid after you over one race. I mean, I'm like, my head was spinning from 1973. After that, I was much more seasoned than many sprinters at my age could have been.
So it's
I
interesting too because when you beat Valery Borzov, it wasn't only democracy over communism; it was also a race thing too. It was okay, black dude took the sprinting mantle back, right? Like this white dude should not have the sprinting mantle. Sprinting is, black dudes are good at sprinting. That's what we do. Like that's our thing. Like, and it was it was cultural, it was racial, it crossed a lot of boundaries. What you were able to do.
and then also an undercurrent was that I was very close with Ray Robinson and Eddie Hart,
Mhm.
and I was flabbergasted that they didn't make it to the race.
Yeah.
And it seemed everyone says it seemed kind of contrived, that there was a setup for the European to win. I didn't want to say that, but I felt that I had to avenge them.
I love it. I love it, man.
And you did.
So 73, that was that. 74, I was in college and I had to leave the school because I was causing problems for Coach Hill. NC2A I was slipping off to Europe, and I slipped off to Europe to change from Puma to Adidas, and I was just the wrong person to be caught up in an NC2A system.
It seems like
I
it, yeah.
won a national championship. I ran 9.9 after losing the NC2A championship to Reggie Jones. He outleaned me at the tape. Great race, still the greatest 100 yards ever run. It was windy, but we ran like 9.18 and 9.19. I ran 9.18 in the qualifying rounds. And so, it went from that in 74. And then in 75, I was at that breakthrough point. I was running I ran 5.99s. I ran 10, I had 4.10s. If you look at the numbers, no matter what, we couldn't get past 10.06, 10.05 was the sticking point in our era. And the 9.9s over and over again. I got all these plaques for co-equal of the world record, and I was fighting to make that breakthrough. I was on the edge of it has to be nines electronic. It has to be nines in the 100 meters. that was becoming regular.
So real quick,
I was
at
the
that
first.
point, at that point though, you're getting these consistent 9-9s, 10 flats.
Sure.
You have this ultimate confidence, but are you starting to feel that pressure of I need to do more. I want to do more. Is there pressure
I
there?
was doing more. Of course, I was doing more.
Yeah.
I was 6'4", 6'3" and a half, 6'4". I was like a transformer truck where I had to I had to go from being the big truck to come down to the little bumblebee yellow Camaro. And I had to do that when the gun went off. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was making so many mistakes. I was so sloppy. I was so all over the place trying to pull my legs together and go straight down the lane. So I'm running 9-9 in LA, 9-9 in Siena, Italy. I was the first to break 10 in Europe. I ran 9-9 in the rain in Berlin. Alex, I also sent you that film so you can look at it later. Because they just sent that to me just recently. I ran 9-9 in Gainesville in the rain. I ran 9-9 in Berlin in the rain. I ran 9-9 in Atlanta with Harvey Glantz and McTeer and everybody else. It was getting to be at that point where I am pushing up against this. How come I can't? What do I have to do to get the next level? How do I break those things? Steve Riddick and Quarry, we're here at the stage. Here's
look at you go there. You had a hell of a start too.
When I got a start, it was near world record. If I didn't get a start,
hell of a start, man.
If I didn't get a start, look at the rain. Look
how wow.
Even back then in non-HD, you could just see the rain just.
Oh, it was raining, man. But you know who inspired me for this race? Guy Drew, the hurdler.
Look at that. Hold up. Wow. Look at this rain real quick. Look at it. They get a nice picture of it. Just, you got the crowd. Look at it coming down. That's heavy rain, man. And that's all over the track. So were there a lot of puddles on the track as you're doing this?
Please. Oh, please. Guy Drew, the Frenchman. He was running the hurdles just before us. Yeah. He ran 13 flat in the rain.
Wow.
Just before us. They had to postpone the 100 to make the rain and get the hurdles off the track. So we were out there with soggy shoes it was torrential. That race was New York. That was running in dirt tracks in the rain in New York. Sure. That was running in snow in New York.
Yep.
That was Southern California guys didn't know nothing about running like that in the rain.
No, because they close it down when it rains in SoCal. They see rain maybe once a year and they shut because they have flat roads. They don't have the irrigated roads. Right. So they get an inch. An inch is a real inch over there. For us, an inch just goes off to the side into our grates. They don't got no grates in California. Maybe they do now, but they didn't for a long time.
Right.
The backstory on the Berlin race was that I was designing shoes with Adidas. Me and the owner of Adidas, Horst Dassler, was shoulder to shoulder on developing shoes. And he enjoyed my input on the shoes. He asked me what I wanted in a shoe. I said, I want a shoe that keeps me up on my toes. We worked on all kind of configurations, cookies built into the shoes, the Addy Star that had the 3 different stars at the bottom where the mid-toe was thicker, and those are all my input with Adidas. So I ran 9-9 in experimental shoes in the rain. Horst Dassler calls me and says, Steve, look, I pay you to win races. I don't always pay you to test the shoes, okay? He's of course he's proud Adidas shoe in Germany in the rain and blah blah blah. Okay, so this is how he and I were. And afterward, you got to read my book for what happened afterward, the way he rewarded me for that the owner of Adidas Horse Dazzle was a kind of randy, kind of sexy guy who was always interested in putting the women in front of you. Let's put it like that. Okay, so all of that led up to 76. 76, I moved to Gainesville, Florida. I was training with Brooks Johnson, and we were going after it.
Yep.
We were going after it. I ran 6 flat in February of 76. I was AAU national champion in the 60. To add to that, I was the AAU champion in the 60 yards, 100 yards, 100 meters, and 220 yards. That will never be duplicated because they don't run the yards
anymore. That's right.
So
But that's
I
just dominance too that we don't see, because you have so many people who are like, I'll take Christian Coleman, for example. Christian Coleman is probably the best start in the world still. So he knows 60 is his bread and butter every year. If he's at that 60 in the world championship, there is no better starter in the world. He is the best 60, bar none. I have never seen anyone that gets out like he does. Now, his last 40 have been left a lot to be desired the last few years.
Sure.
And he'll say that himself. But man, and so you have these specialists that know I have a great start, 60's my thing, or I have great strength, Noah Lyles. So if I'm there at the 70 meters, I'm going to win, right? So there's more specialties than that range that we saw that you had.
I beat Houston McTeer in 76 in the 50 yards in Canada. Brooks and I were going for it. We were going for it. 9.8s, 19s regularly. I ran 19.9 in Jamaica in 1975. It was the national stadium record in Jamaica for about 5 years. You got all those great sprinters, Don Quarry, you had Bolt. I was the first to run 19 in the Caribbean at sea level. Then Quarry and I went in Eugene, Oregon, and we broke Tommy Smith's record. Don outleaned me. Don is a hell of a sprinter. He was the most technically sound guy. He never looked any different. Every step of his looked the same. So 76, after I won a national championship in the 60, after I had beat McTeer in the 50, I was like, okay, settle down. The first time I ran the 100, I ran 9.9 in Gainesville. I ran 19.9 in Gainesville. I ran 19.9 in Atlanta at the King Games and ran 9.9 again that time. And then I got hurt. Oh. And so you're saying, was I under the pressure to go forward? I was under my pressure.
Yeah.
My obsession to run, to break these barriers. I was obsessed with it. I mean, really. And that's how I got hurt. I should have just sat my ass down. Like, I went to the Penn Relays that year, ran 10 flat for the 100, ran 19.2 on a relay leg, sprint medley, and ran 44.6 on the mile relay.
You don't see pros doing that anymore. You don't see pro I think the last one that we saw was Noah do that. Noah ran, I think he ran a 2, and then he did that 4x4 in indoor. Noah did he'll do more of that. But Noah's a different sprinter. I take Noah because Noah he's a little more similar to you, where he has range. He doesn't have the start that you had, but he has range from the 1 to the 4. He can run a pretty good 4 down to a really good 1 and 2.
Sure.
I admire his consistency in the 200.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That he's got all of those back-to-back world championships. And the fact that these guys don't even have to run that much. They can run 6 meets for the whole year, okay?
Crazy.
All right. There's a lot of hiding. Quarry and I would never hide from each other. Riddick and I would never hide from each other. The Europeans would hide all the time. Borzov was hiding all the time. I got stories of Pietro Minea hiding all the time, okay? But we wouldn't hide.
Did you talk to Riddick or Corey or some of these others and say, hey, I'm going to be here. Do you want to go compete there together? Let's go headline. Let's make
We're on tour. We
Right.
got these meets.
Yeah.
Show up and make that money, or don't show up and don't make that money.
That was
Even
what it was.
small as it was. It was business.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was business, okay?
And you could
You
use each
show
other,
up,
right? That's a headline.
yeah. You show up, you don't show up. It was business. We had a
What?
professional attitude about it.
Yeah.
These guys got the duck and dodge attitude about it, right? And I had a gunfighter attitude. When I first went, and I was 19 years old, and I'm on the plane going to USSR, going to Italy, I'm going to Germany, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing, except I'm going into other people's towns, other people's countries
That's a
to
boxer's
run them.
mentality, man.
And all I'm thinking is, okay, well, look at it like a gunfighter. Gunfighter comes to town. I'm on the plane going to Europe. Gunfighter goes to town. Fastest gun comes to town. And I took that mentality. I'm coming to town. I'm the fastest gun. I just
And
took that mentality.
that's like
I
a
had to
boxer's
have
mentality, right? Like Floyd. I feel like Floyd had that mentality. Floyd Mayweather, where let's make some money. You
Sure.
come, if you fight Floyd, you're going to make money and we're going to do it together. And and I feel like he had that similar business acumen that you had, where it's,
you
I
got
ain't
to
fighting
come.
for that much. I'm fighting for this much. And if you bring him here, he's not getting anywhere near mine, but
Sure.
he's going to get his biggest payday of his career. Like the best thing that happened to Canelo Alvarez young was losing to Floyd, because Canelo Alvarez touched his first $100 million. I think in that fight, something insane that he made in that fight as a young man.
Right.
That's why people wanted to fight Floyd. They didn't care if they beat him or not at points. They wanted to. But if you lost, you're still getting the biggest payday of your career. Like,
I was dealing with the meat promoters. First time I met Mr. Brugger at Zurich, I said, okay, $3,000 if I win 100 in the 200. He looked at me like, $3,000? I said, if I lose, you don't have to pay me. He was on the board of directors of Swiss Credit Bank of Zurich. He was a lovely man.
Yep.
He was like, I'm not as reckless as you. I'll pay you $2,000 for both races, okay? But the next day, he said, I might have told you this. He said, do you have a suit? I says, yes, meet me for lunch tomorrow. Mr. Brugger took me to Swiss Credit Bank of Zurich, took me downstairs in the vaults, introduced me to my personal banker,
that's awesome.
my Swiss bank number. They
I
gave
remember
me a
that.
little,
Yep.
they gave me a little, oh shit.
You good?
I've got tech problems.
I see that. We'll get him back. Dave, you still with me?
Yeah. So
Okay. You just look frozen for a second. We'll get
I'm
Steve
good.
back in a second. But man, I could listen to Steve talk about his career.
Fantastic, man. I'm just sitting here like I can't even talk. It's just hearing all these stories and hearing all these people that he knew and that he went to battle with, and it's just fascinating because the sport's different, but it's still just toe up on the line and let's just see who the best one is. It's cool.
I feel like Steve should hold seminars. I really do. I know the USATF wouldn't be too happy with him. World Athletics probably wouldn't be too happy with him. But as these young, not just sprinters, but throwers, distance runners, jumpers come out of college, and it's kind of that what now, right? Because I think a lot of these, runners, they come out and they're talented, they're good, but what now? What am I going to do? Do I go and try and get with that running team? Can I compete with them? Like,
Right.
do I try and go after this sponsor? Is it that much money? And I feel like Steve could do so well just getting up in front of these, like every year. Okay, I'm gonna have a seminar for freshly graduated seniors from college. You can come here, pay me 50, 100 a head, something, whatever, because you're gonna get invaluable advice and stories and things that are gonna help you to go and figure out your way as a pro.
And also, like he can educate them because I feel like so many of these athletes, they depend so much on their agents and whatnot that they don't even know the actual ins and outs for themselves. And then some of them get screwed over. Whereas like Steve said, he's like, I was just doing it myself. I'm not saying now that that's as something that can be as easily done.
It
Because
would be difficult because I didn't think they had the ranking system where they had platinum meats and gold meats
correct,
and these meats. I don't think they had that system for the points to get
right.
there. But at the same time, I mean, how would it hurt? How would it hurt to have that done? Oh, Steve's calling me. I think he's having some problems on him. Steve, you're going on speakerphone. You're going to be through the camera. So you're having some issues? Yeah, you're having some issues, Steve?
I got tech problems here.
That's all right. So we'll have you back. We'll plan to have you back in a few weeks. We'll talk about a date.
Absolutely. Happy holidays to the audience, and thanks for listening to these old tech
Love it.
stories.
Love it.
We love them. We love them. Dave loves them. Like I said, you're live still. I have you on the microphone, so people are hearing you.
Okay. Happy holidays to everybody. Goodbye.
Have a Merry Christmas, Steve. Happy New Year, brother.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right. So with that, Steve Williams, having issues. He said there's a weather blackout, and
So, yeah.
I mean the weather up here where I am in New York, and I don't know if you guys have a white Christmas over there, but we
No,
have we got a
don't.
white Christmas over here.
We're just gonna
we-
miss it. Maybe on Friday.
Oh, this weekend. It's so funny. So real quick, this is an aside, and I can't imagine how it goes for you guys over there with, being coaches with meets and stuff. But so I have an Android. It's a Google Pixel. My wife has an Android. It's a Samsung. Same processor, right? The weather app should be similar. We have two completely different things all the freaking time. I
Really?
don't understand it. So mine says that it shouldn't snow on Friday. And then it should start snowing Saturday and into Sunday. But then when you click on it, it says there's going to be 6 inches of snow on Friday. And then it's like, it's confused where my wife says like there's barely anything throughout the weekend. Like, how can you have the same operating system? It's not like
Same
it's
app.
an iPhone and Android. Like,
Right.
I don't understand how they get it so different. Like, man, we missed out. Why aren't we weather people?
Listen, there was different weather here in Brielle than there was in Manasquan, and they were right next to each other. But the weather app had them having like 10 degrees different, and it was exactly the same. So who the hell knows, man?
I mean, there is a difference though when you're by the shore. That shore
Sure.
weather is unpredictable,
It
especially
is.
as you get closer to the water. We have the valley because I'm in the Hudson Valley here. In the Hudson Valley, everyone else will have something and we'll have nothing, and then we get piled on, and everything else is gorgeous. So
We just get the wind here, man, because it's so
yeah.
open. It's just brutal.
Absolutely. So, again, Steve obviously won't be coming back. He's having some difficulties. I do want to promote his book real quick because it was a ton of fun to just
it's
listen. But I
fantastic.
do
Yeah.
want to get the book promoted because everyone, I'm unfortunate. I'm dragging ass. I got to buy this book because I'm a slow reader. I 100% want to read his book, but
Of course.
here it is over here. Always speeding. Go on there and again, if you have the Kindle Unlimited, go read it. If you want to support him, the $17 for the paperback, you want to get that hardcover, go get it. Like I said, I got to buy it, but I also want to send it to Steve first so he can sign it.
Absolutely.
And then I want to get the copy because, man, I got to get one of the first individuals to run. And you can just hear how many places was he the first to do things. Like,
listen, man, he was breaking 10 when people were not breaking 10.
But to me, like, this is such a problem again in our sport. Because why does it take Steve Williams coming on our small podcast, right, to talk about this? Why is he not one of the most celebrated athletes? Like, I get it. He didn't have the Olympic gold. He missed out on his opportunity.
He was hurt. It's the only reason why.
He was hurt. And it's like, but we measure it by that. But the guy broke so many barriers. Many barriers.
And just his charisma, like have him on a meet as a color commentator, or just telling his stories about, like he should be on, like, him and his counterparts should be on Flow Track with old videos. You know how like MLB Network has like the all-time greatest games, and like they have players from both sides kind of sitting down.
That would be cool. Flow Track starts doing documentaries.
Going over it, but like having the people who race in these iconic races come in and just break down the race, like something like that. I mean, I would watch that. Like, you have on
Steve Williams documentary and some of these other the non-pre's, right? Like the non-people that everyone talks about, but like Steve Williams, obviously just as important.
Sure.
You can have Dave Waddle and let Dave Waddle really tell a story, break down his races and stuff.
Yeah, like have him watch races and break it down. Like, how were you feeling prior? What was your training like? How did you feel in the morning of? Like, how did you feel? 200 meters into the race. So, like, you could do so many fun things, and that would give these ex athletes who didn't have the opportunity to maybe get paid an outlet to keep their
Oh, yeah.
memories and their stories alive, because they did so many things for the athletes now. And I feel like kids now, like when I mentioned to like some of the kids that I have, Dave Waddle on my show, like they had no idea who it was, or they're like, oh, that was the guy with the hat. Not that was the guy who won the 1972 Olympics
And walked down.
right. But it's like, had he not been wearing that hat, I don't even know if these kids would even know who he was, or a
No.
lot of them, they don't even know. So it would be such a great way to bring the name back. Cause like, like basketball and those sports, we all know who those players were in the 70s or
Yeah.
but these kids now have no idea who broke all these records and did all these things prior to them.
I'll
And
admittedly say I knew of Steve Williams, but I didn't know he did all this, right? Like I
correct,
knew
right,
Steve Williams was a great sprinter,
right.
but I didn't know
Yeah.
all of this. And it's
I
a
got
travesty.
into it, right? Like I got into it in the early 90s. So from then on, I'm very well versed. But you're
Yeah.
right, like because when you would read articles or watch any sort of coverage, there was no mention of what happened prior. It was just mentioned of who is competing now. That they didn't bring out the stars and
It's Jim
some of them.
Thorpe when you go back further.
Yeah.
It's Jim Ryan. Like those
Jesse
are the ones-
Owens.
Jesse Owens is, but those guys, like you hear those names,
Right.
like they're the same names, but there's
Prefontaine, but
Prefontaine.
I will. Most of the kids in my high school, even when those movies came out, they didn't know who Steve Prefontaine was. It was more because I ran, and because Nike did such a big job in the mid 90s of bringing him back.
Well, yeah. You had Fire on the Track. You had Prefontaine. You had Without
everything
Limit.
classic.
Yeah.
You had all these meets and so like and it all stemmed from Nike naming that meet after him in Eugene. That stemmed Fire
real
on
quick,
the track and all that stuff.
What do you think of the pushback? Because I've seen it a few times now, where individuals are like, "Why are we glorifying a guy who was great but never got world or Olympic medal and died as a drunk driver?" And it's like I've seen that, and
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead. Let me hear why.
I
Why
think
do you
it's
think?
it's the what if. Had he never won anything and finished out his career, he would not have this aura about him. It's because he was in the prime of his career. He was fighting with AAU. He was getting things changed. He was coming right into his prime. It was just before he was going to run in the next Olympics. I personally don't even think that I don't know if Lasse Viren could have been beat in 76.
No, we've said it before. I think
Well,
Lasse
but-
Viren was the best distance runner in the world,
But
and it was.
I think it's
yeah.
because we don't know. There's that uncertainty of because he was the best to ever do it in our country at that time. So I just think that it's had his career gone as it was and he never won any and Olympics, and he would be known as a tough, great competitor who did a lot for the sport, but he wouldn't have this aura because
This mystique.
Because we don't know, because he passed young.
Yeah, and and it is like weird to think about, right? That what if, and it's like, yeah, he did die drunk. He died drunk driving.
He did.
We always gloss over that. Like it's
He also
something that we very
died drunk driving in the 70s, where let's
a
be
lot of
honest.
people drank
I mean,
and drove. Yeah. There was that. But yeah, no, it's 100%.
I don't even know. Like he was probably at the time where if he got pulled over, the cops like, just get home.
So do we have anyone like that has that mystique? Have we captured that? Maybe Usain Bolt had that mystique about him. But like,
It's hard
do we
because,
I mean, Grant Fisher is great, but Grant Fisher doesn't have Prefontaine mystique. Like,
no, but I think it's the mystique is because of the unknown. Like I'm trying to think of someone who either got hurt, who was like that good, but never panned out because of whatever reason. I mean, not obviously death, but for some reason, I really think that we all felt in love with him. One, because when I was in high school, like they really promoted him big, and like he was our guy. He was our American guy. Like he was
our answer.
Yeah, he was our guy who was mixed. Because at that point in the 90s, there weren't any distance runners from the USA really mixing it up. I mean, we had Bob Kennedy ran a 12:58. It was the first American on the team, but he was.
Dave Waddle wants to have a word with you.
No, but I'm talking about like in like my era,
5K, 10K.
the 89s. We didn't have anybody then. Like
no.
Shorter and Pre and all them and Waddle, like they were all gone, and we were just in this void of like, I mean, and at that point, Kenya and Ethiopia was just like Bob Kennedy ran 12:58, but that wasn't competing. Like he was not any bit of a
I mean, that went on until Legat kind of transferred
right.
over
I'm
to the
just
United
saying,
States.
yeah,
It went on until Legat came, switched his citizenship.
sure,
And then we had Galen Rupp, and he really, Galen Rupp, his silver performance is one of the greatest races I think an
yeah,
American has
it
done
was great,
in
yeah.
a 10K. It was so good, and to
Then
do that when Mo Farah was there too, like Mo Farah was untouchable when Galen did that, and Galen gave it a run.
yeah,
It was.
I mean, you're right. Bernard changed that the whole thing, like especially 15 mile, because like we had great guys, but we weren't from the 15 up. We weren't like
How many gold medalists want to come and compete for the United States? So like it's crazy to think like he
right.
was already a gold medalist from Kenya when he transferred and became an American and wanted to run in the red, white, and blue. And I mean, at that point, he reset the record book for
Yes.
us in the 15 and everything.
Yeah, but that's why I think Pre has this mystique because of the unknown.
No, it's true. It's
At
true.
least
And
in my opinion, because like we could easily say that he would have won it in 76, and like no one can like definitively say that he wouldn't.
so
Like because I mean he was one of the top 2 or 3 best.
my question is, and I think it's the blend of not only shattering records, but the attitude he had and the cockiness and
Yeah.
that, because like I think of if Mary Cain's career would have stayed on her trajectory, right? Mary Cain was going to be our greatest distance runner of all time with women if
She was.
Alberto doesn't ruin her. But she didn't have that cockiness about her.
No.
Like we don't have that athlete. Like, we talk about Marco, right? Marco has
Marco
that
Langdon,
about him.
but
But Marco didn't have the high school career. Like he
and
didn't
he
reset the
hasn't,
record books.
like he hasn't
Yes.
won enough yet. But
He
he's
doesn't have
that
the
guy who
accomplishments. He has the moxie.
he definitely has that like I just want to win. Like
But who, like, we haven't seen somebody like Pre that has the moxie
not
plus
in
the accomplishments behind it as well.
not in American Distance Running. I think the
Yeah,
closest was no. I mean, because like I mean,
It's
I would
get that
say
goal.
like now I would say Ingebrigtsen has some pre in him, but he's not American.
Ingebrigtsen certainly is the closest that we've seen because we've known about him since he was 16.
And
And
he's
he's always had that chip. And
he
he's
wins.
done it. And
Yeah.
he's done it. Yes. So if you're
And-
looking at
And
internationally,
he's
Yeah.
not afraid to I mean, I
he
think
does that.
Kerr.
He's no fear.
I think Kerr has a little bit of it too.
Does Kerr have it if Ingebrigtsen doesn't start it, though? That's the question.
No.
Kerr is a response to Jakob. And I'm not knocking Josh Kerr. I think Josh
right.
Kerr has the it factor about
They're
him.
all a response to Tiago.
I would love to see Josh Hoey have a little bit more of it. I think he has that dog in him. He just
I
doesn't
do
say
too.
it verbally as much. He looks like he's that
Well,
fiery guy on the track, but he
I
doesn't
also
verbalize
think
it.
that whether this is true or not, that a lot of the Americans are afraid to speak out because they're afraid that people will say, "Oh, that's just the braggadocious Americans out there talking." You know,
But you backed it up. Well, Noah got that, but Noah backed it up, and
Right.
I
Well,
think people have kind of.
sprinting's a whole different world.
That's true.
Distance running has always been. That's why I do kind of like that. Jakob is kind of like, hey, like
It's like, Yared's
yourself,
too damn
man.
nice. Yared
Right.
Nagus is too damn nice. I
Oh,
think
Hocker.
Hobbs Kessler has that in him.
I do
Hobbs
too.
Kessler, because
He's
Hobbs,
kinda
when
quiet.
he called everyone out in indoor, I truly enjoyed Hobbs saying, like, I'm here, where's everyone else? Like, kind of scoffing. Like, obviously he was proud to win the double, but he's kind of looking at it going, where is everybody? Why is it just me? And
I think
like
Hoey has it too.
I think Hoey has that. I'd like to see he has the expressiveness, but I'd like to see a little more just talking about it and saying flat out, like, not, oh, I want to win. Like, no, I'm going to win. Like, I'm the best runner here. Period. I'm the best runner in the world. And like I said, Jakob's not afraid to say, even when he loses, he doesn't care. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that it's just I would like to see, and I think I've talked about it before, and me and you have a little bit differing opinions on this. Our runners are too stuffy. We are too stuffy as what we demand out of our runners to go be robots. And
Yeah.
I get it. At the high school level, I don't think Pre was talking much when he was in Coos Bay.
He might
But
have
the
been.
moment he got to college,
Oh yeah.
he let it out. But it was also different, right? Because the AAU pros, what they were going at, but we're going up against it again. We are. Because the NIL and all this stuff, and Sebco saying the World Athletics controls the calendar, like, that is a gauntlet thrown down in an answer
Agreed.
saying, hey, we are the gatekeepers. And I think we're going to another little AAU with the NIL situation, with colleges, with high school transfers, with
It's a good analogy.
World Athletics kind of, I haven't heard Sebco or someone from World Athletics use this type of language since kind of the AAU went away.
Sure.
To flat out say Grand Slams basically not coming back because we won't sanction them. Like, that is a huge thing.
It is.
So, I mean, and I think that we haven't seen the implications of that, and I think that's kind of a shot to the bow of anyone trying to compete with their World Athletics thing. Don't try and compete with us. We're starting something that we're allowing the Diamond League to exist. We're allowing the Continental Tour to exist. We're going to do our thing. Get out of our way, type of thing.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
Yeah, I mean, there's also rumors that the USATF is starting their own league. Who knows?
But you know what, though? It won't work.
I know.
It won't work because when a governing body gets into the meat promoting business, again, what are they going to be? No one can wear anything but Nike at this USATF thing because Nike's their thing. Like,
yeah, it's
I
for
don't.
For as far as the athletes are trying to bring the sport by their performances and their times and just like the way that they compete, the governing body is doing the opposite. Like they're not going with the athletes. They're not excelling at the rate that the athletes are.
And I would love to have Max Siegel
everything right.
I would love to talk to Max Siegel. I would love to talk about the USATF, what they're trying to do, how, and and the thing is, we talk about the athletes a lot, right? But it's the athletes can do everything they want, but if nobody's there to watch it, who cares, right? The thing is, like, we care. We're junkies. But if nobody's there to watch it, if you're only going as in America to the same 100,000 people, that's not going to get you anywhere. You need millions of fans.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, like, if the USATF wants to play promoter as well, what are they doing to open this up? What are they doing to compete with Diamond League, who has seen in the 20 millions of views across their meets? What are we doing to compete with that? How are we trying to go? And why is the Continental Tour? Why are we happy with a few thousand views? Why are we happy with empty stands? Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know. I don't even know why we're trying to compete. Like, we're not going to get the people from going Diamond League yet. Like, it's going to take years for them because that's where but I mean, not just more money, but
exposure.
I hate to say it, a better fan experience.
Better fan experience and
more fans.
But knowing where it is to start. Does anybody know where these continental meets are going on? These are essentially they're still pros. They're not the Diamond League. So they're not the NBA, but they're the G League, right? They're not MLB, but it's AAA. AAA usually has decent numbers in baseball. You go to a AAA game, you're watching good baseball. Right? Yeah. This Continental is the AAA. It is good track and field. This is the top. These people are going to the Olympics. They are going to Worlds. They represent at the Pan Am Games.
And sometimes
the Hispanic Games. They're all there.
And sometimes you'll get a major stud running in one of those meets, maybe because it's local or because it just fits.
Or for whatever reason, they weren't invited to Doha, so they come to this meet.
It's like Derek Jeter gets hurt, but he has to do a rehab.
And Wilkes-Barre.
It's like that. Like whatever they have to do to get back up to the big time. But like the Continental League has some great athletes, some great races.
Well, I know the ATL, I think, is all on the Continental Tour, the ATL, the American Track League. And it's like, we should be, I never know when the ATL is on. And that's
I don't even know where it's on.
Problem. And I know they try to do a good job. They have bands and stuff. They're at a lot of high schools and some small colleges. And I don't think that's amazing for pros to be doing, right? But, I think it's Paul Doyle that does it. He's trying, man. He is trying. He's trying to get these athletes and run and have more races organized, a fun experience, so that these pros can go and try and get more points towards the worlds and stuff like that in USATFs.
But the problem is that these athletes have a easier time doing the European circuit because everything is laid out for them. Like here, it's just so sloppy. Like, oh, do I go to this way? Well, this is part of this league. This is just an independent meet. Like you go over to there's a whole European circuit and everything's laid out.
And then I'm barely getting any money from Brooks, but I have to go to these meets because I'm a Brooks athlete. And it's like there's also so obligations.
Like again, it's the athletes themselves. I feel are doing their part,
but also they're doing their part. But again, do we know where our favorite
of how they perform on the actual track?
But do we know where our favorite athletes are competing?
No, that's the problem.
So it's like, why? I think they need to be better. As well as saying, like, hey,
the athletes are doing their part in the competition. They're not doing their part as much as they can in terms of putting out information about the sport, about where
And it's
they
so
are
easy
competing.
social media wise now. Like,
Sure.
hey, and Matt Ludwig is great about that. We've had Matt Ludwig on. Matt Ludwig is awesome. He talks about where he's going to be.
Yeah.
He posts up his jumps and stuff like that with the pole vault. I think Matt is awesome. I think Matt's doing the right thing. And that's why Matt has a good fan base. That's why people like watching Matt compete. They see that he enjoys it, but more people need to take that route of at least leading up to it, a post a day, right? A
Sure.
story a day going, this is where I'm going to be. This is the race I'm running. This is when I'm competing. This
Even
is
if
how
you
much
post-
it is to get in.
Right. Or even if you post your workout for the day, it's something.
Yeah. But it's also, I think it's just like, okay, I'm going to be at this race. And I don't know, but the meet directors are smart. And again, it's hard, right? Because the money is the problem. How are
Always.
are you going to pay these athletes? Are you going to pick like reward athletes for having a good following, right? Like say, okay,
Right.
you have 20,000 followers on Instagram. I'm going to give you an extra $300 right off the bat. Please make 3 posts coming up to this saying, this is where the meet is. This is how much it is to get in. If you're local, I'm going to be competing
Yeah.
to your fan base, right? Put $1,000 away to give to 5 or 6 athletes. And I know it's small, it's not much, but budget that within your meets now to maybe get 10 athletes to do it, 20, 30, whatever you have, however much you could do to now sit there and instead of having 1,000 people in the stands, okay, we can fit 4,000 people here. Let's try and get 4,000 people here. Like, I don't understand it. It's head scratching.
This is a topic for another day, brother.
Yes. But we appreciate everyone for watching. We obviously went off, but Steve had to dive off with the technical difficulties, so we figured we'd give you a little bit extra here.
Sure.
But like we said, I'm happy, Dave. I appreciate you starting the show.
Sure.
I was over there, handling some
Hey, man.
last second Christmas stuff. But
Got to do what you got to do.
on that note, I want to wish everyone a
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Are we back before the new year? I don't think we have anyone. So we'll see if we do a show next week.
Sure.
It is New Year, the
It's a
week of
busy
New
week.
Year's. We may not. We don't have anyone currently, but it's not hard. People love talking about track. No one wants to talk to anyone about why they run. So it's not that bad to get some cool people to come
Right.
talk. But I also want to give a shout out to Outpost for what they did with the orange shoes. Our guest Callie got those shoes yesterday. Did you see? She was a part of that group. We didn't even mention it. But what Craig's doing over there. We love what he does at the Outpost and giving away those orange shoes to some of the top athletes in the conference. Alex Lynch, his athlete, was over
Leah
there.
Starkey?
Leah, there you go. Her name friggin' escaped me, but they're doing some great stuff there, some great promotion, really trying to make sure that the short conference runners feel appreciated, and that what they're doing is noticed, and I think that's big. So shout out there. But outside of that, Dave, have a Merry Christmas, brother. This is
you as well.
It's fun every year doing this with you, and
Absolutely. And
it's crazy that it comes up quick, man. All these years, like we've been doing it. We're at episode 171.
171 episodes. That's over 3 years.
Over 3 years of episodes. We will be, pretty soon. It's going to be up to 4 years. Like it's crazy. It seems like yesterday that we were texting about Worlds, and you saying like, "Hey, let's start a show." It's like,
you know what, I know like my life's changed a lot since we started, but it's always important to me to try to make the time to get this in because one, I love doing it and working with you is great, and I just know that we have fans who, some weeks we have more than others, which is fine, but like we have fans who enjoy listening to the show. Like I get it when I'm at track meets, people know me more for the podcast than for actually coaching, which is fine.
It's fine. And, and I say it tongue in cheek about like, the show wouldn't have started without you and your friend. But your friend group, the coaches, Wilfredo O'Fara, Chris Stefelski, Adam Nalvin, Steve Geiger, I'm missing some, but like that, there's that group of guys that were just so willing to be like, hey, sure. Yeah, we'll come and talk. Like that was huge for us because, it gave us some legitimacy. It gave us credibility and legitimacy within that circle of coaches and a little bit of trust. So like it was good. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate everyone for watching. Like I said, we don't know if we'll be back next week. If not, Happy New Year as well. But if so, we'll be back. We'll be talking and I shall see everyone later. Dave, I shall see you later.
All right, buddy.
Everyone Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas.
Absolutely.
So
guys.
long, y'all.